Greg at www.gregdwyer.com. That's www.gregdwyer.com. Now on to our show. Take it away, Greg.
So here it is, 2023. I have a new format. I'm on the radio. I'm also on video on YouTube. We're going to do both of these things and see how they work. So here it is, January 8th. I'm excited. I'm really excited, really happy. Hopefully you're excited, you're happy. Hopefully your new year is going well as well. Now, if you listened to my broadcast last week, I talked about the concept of journaling. I spent a lot of time building up to it. I do think it's really important. I want to talk a little bit about it, and then what we're going to talk about today is just one thing. Just one thing. So you don't have to take a lot of notes because it's just one thing. One thing. That's it. Just one thing. And the thing we're going to talk about today is being clear. Being clear. I'm going to have to put on my glasses so I can see the camera. Being clear in 2023. That's the only thing we're going to talk about in this half an hour. Getting clear. And I think clear and a diamond and focus all go together, so I think it really fits my brand, and I think it's exciting, and I really think it's going to help you too. I wouldn't talk about this if it didn't help me over the years. It really has, so I just want to share this with you. So last week I talked about the concept of journaling, and people go, oh my gosh, journaling, I got to write something down, I'm not a good writer, how am I going to do all this stuff? It's really easy. And as Jim Rohn used to say, Jim Rohn died a few years ago, but he used to talk about the concept that it's easy to do, right? It's really easy to do. But here's the problem, it's also easy not to do, right? So 5 things every single day that you're grateful for. It's easy to do it. It especially gets easier when you do it all the time. I've been doing this since 2009, so it's really easy. And if I miss a day or I'm out on the road, I'll write these things down and I'll bring them into my journal because I don't really travel with my journal. But it's the consistency that is really important. One of my New Year's resolutions, and I'll share it with you, is to stay away from a coffee shop, let's call it Dunkin' Donuts, daily. Because I used to go almost every day and get a cup of joe, a cup of coffee, and I thought to myself, this is crazy. And I know I'm doing it for the social reasons. I like to meet people there and talk to people, and it's fun. But I decided I'm not doing this anymore. That doesn't mean I won't go there. It's just that I'm not going to go there daily. So I have a little calendar. Every single day I mark off on my calendar. In fact, the calendar's in the other room. I mark down, hey, I didn't go to Dunkin' Donuts today. And then I have a chain of X's or marks, which really encourages me when I'm feeling tempted, or maybe I'm feeling lonely, or I just want a cup of coffee, to go to Dunkin' Donuts. I go, no, look at all these marks. In fact, guess what? I got 8 marks on my calendar, which is a good thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All these marks. Tomorrow's the 9th. What am I going to do? It's Monday. I'll probably put an X. Now, that doesn't mean if you want to meet for a cup of coffee, we can't go to Dunkin' Donuts, but I'm not doing it daily. So I'm going to save some money, and I'm probably going to work on my weight as well, as far as decreasing my weight. Not that I eat donuts. That was last year. I got rid of that. But getting clear about what you want has a lot to do with your past and also your future. So journaling, easy to do, easy not to do. So I'm going to challenge you, if you got off track in the last couple days, you know, because most people do, because it's easy to get focused. Anybody can get focused. Yeah. Anybody can get focused. It's staying focused over the long period of time. That's where the magic is. The magic is staying focused. So I encourage you that if you got off track, just pick up a book, pick up a notebook, go get a journal, and just write down a couple things every single day that you're grateful for. Now, you might not be perfect, but perfection is a low standard. You know, when I walk out, last week I walked out to give a presentation on Long Island, and the thought that was in my mind was, I'm not shooting for perfection here. I'm shooting for connection. That's what I'm looking for. That was my clear outcome at the lecture that I did last week on Long Island. Because when I say to myself, I got to be perfect, it's not easy to be perfect. I can't do it. I don't know anybody that can do it. And why bother? Not perfection, connection. And I thought, you know, I can connect with this audience. I got a lot to share. I got a lot of wisdom. Been studying this stuff for over 20 years. That was my outcome, my clear purpose. So that's what we're going to talk about. Every day, 5 things. If you don't want to do 5 things, just do one thing. But here's what happens. December 31st, 2023, at the end of the year, you have a record of where you're at. You know, I said to someone the other day, they just set a budget for this year, but they also had a budget for last year. And I said, look, I want to see the numbers. Just show me the numbers. How did you do last year? How did you do in 2022? So they gave me the numbers. I said, okay, so here are the numbers. This is how well you did. What did you project? What did you think you were going to do? And they said, this is exactly what we were going to do. I said, you're right on target. That's wonderful. If you don't track, if you don't look at this, you're just like, well, I'm doing okay. I'm not really sure. I think last year was good. There's no way you can be clear at all. It sounds like I'm preaching to you. I apologize. I really feel passionate about this. If you want to change your life, you got to see what you're doing. You know, if you look at my journal this year, you're probably going to find out that, you know, there's not a lot of Dunkin' Donuts entries. It's just having that confidence and clarity. It really is clarity. When you're clear about who you are, what you've done, and you see your track record, it is absolutely powerful. It's powerful in the sense that you know exactly what you're doing, even though I knocked over my phone just now. But that's okay. Perfection's a low standard. I'm going to just keep on going. Here's what I want to share with you. There's a few things, tiny few things, that if you think about, it will keep you on track. There's a few questions, and the first one is this. What did you love about 2022? You say to yourself, oh, I don't know. What did I love about 2022? If you're like me, it's pretty easy just simply to look back at your 12-month journal and go, wow, you know, let's pretend this piece of paper is my 12-month journal. And you're just looking at it and you go, well, yeah, I really love the fact that I did this, or I went here, or I took this trip. I'm telling you, folks, it's been magic for me to be able to do that. So end of my sermon, end of my preaching, I really just want to encourage you, even though it's the 8th of January, and I don't know when you're listening to this, think about picking up a piece of paper or a notebook, or better yet, a journal, and just write down religiously every single day things that you're grateful for and see how it goes. Just try it for a week. If you don't, like it, you don't have to. Or try it for a month, or try it for a year. I challenge you to develop the habit. And I promise you, if you do it, you're going to have clarity that most people on the planet do not have. Because you ask the average person, you have New Year's resolutions, you want to change, how was last year, what did you love about last year? You're going to get a general statement. You're probably going to get a stare like a deer in the headlights. That's the first thing you're probably going to get. Yeah, I guess it was okay. Oh, and you know what? Last year was terrible. Oh my, it was absolutely, why was it terrible? Oh, I don't know why it was. Trust me. If you do this, you will have clarity that most people on the planet don't have. So, end of my sermon. Let me move on. I want to talk about this concept of clarity around a metaphor. And I thought about this afternoon, and this is not new. It's just a creative way to explain it. I have two cars. One's a sports car. The other car, I have a mobile GPS. You can use your phone. You don't have to have a GPS, but I literally have a GPS. I also have my phone. And one of the things about a GPS is when you sit there and you fill it in to where you want to go, you have to be really clear on where you want to go. I mean, you wouldn't sit in your driveway or in your parking lot or in your garage if you're going someplace you've never been before, right? You wouldn't sit there and go, I don't know what to type into this thing. I have no clue. Now, if you're going somewhere you've been before, you don't have to type in something in your GPS, right? You've been to a friend's house, you've been to the coffee shop, you've been to the show, whatever it is. If you've been there 100 times or 10 times, you don't need a GPS. However, this is the key. If you're going to go someplace that you've never been before, or you're a little wary about it, right? You're like, I don't know about going here. You're going to type in an address or a location into your phone or into your GPS. And you're not going to put multiple entries. You're not, I don't think you can do it anyway. I don't think I can do it on my phone or my GPS. You're going to have one goal. I want to get to Boston, Massachusetts on such and such street, right? Such and such address. One. Last week when I was giving a lecture, a gentleman came up to me and says, what's the deal with the triangle? Because for Christmas, I just got a triangle that I wear around my neck. It's just a small little triangle, and I thought it would be kind of neat to remind me of this. There's one point. There's one. How many points in a triangle? How many? It's not a trick question. How many points in a triangle? There's one point. So if I'm sitting in my driveway, which is right out, I can see it from here, and I want to go somewhere, like next week I have to go to a speaking event in Massachusetts, never been there before, I'm going to type in that one address. One address. So when I think of GPS, G stands for goal or outcome. Outcome. So when people think about New Year's resolutions, what do they think about? Just a few things. They want to lose weight. They want to increase their relationships or get rid of relationships, or they want to increase their income, something to do with money, or they want to, what else besides money? They want to feel better about themselves. They want to be happier. What good is it to have a lot of money and you're not happy, or vice versa, right? They want it all. Maybe they want to have a career, or they want to have a side hustle. They want to make money. A lot of things, not really. There really isn't a lot of things. I guess if you generalize, there's a lot of things, but when you think about it, there's not that many things. We want to feel good about ourselves. We want to have a mission, a purpose. We want to feel significant, like we're doing something with our life, right? We want to lose weight. We want to be healthy. We want to have great relationships. We want to make money. I don't know. I'm thinking of 5 things. So if we just picked one thing, that would be the G, the outcome. I want to lose 25 pounds. That would be great. I want to make an extra $25,000 this year. That would be great. I want to go to Ireland this year. There's one for you. We're leaving March. Oh, here's a commercial. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. We're leaving in March. No, sorry. It was March. We changed it to April. Anyway, so it's April, the end of April. If you want to go to Ireland with us, just get in touch with me because it's going to close really soon. But here's the deal. When you go to JFK and you got your ticket in your hand, you're only going to one place. You're only going to one place. You don't sit next to the guy on the plane or the woman on the plane and say, so where are you going? You're going to Dublin. One place, one goal, one outcome, right? So for the GPS, the G stands for goal, singular, not goals. I know a lot of times people talk about goals. Goals is another thing. You can have 10 goals, 15 goals. You can have 100 goals. When I say goal, I mean outcome. What is the outcome of what you're visualizing? That's really the key. The P stands, in my mind, for purpose. Like, why do you want to go to Ireland? Why do you want to lose 25 pounds? Why do you want to get into a relationship? Why do you want to get out of a relationship? Why do you want to make more money? This is the juice. This is the emotional juice behind your goal. Your goal. So you say, I want to go to Dublin. Well, they could have 5 people. Why do you want to go to Dublin? Oh, I don't know. I want to have some fish and chips in Dublin. Good, cool, neat. Why do you want to go to Dublin? Oh, I just want to go to Trinity College. I want to walk through that, and see that. Oh, that's why you're going. Oh, great. Why do you want to go to Dublin? Oh, I don't know. I just love to travel. So the outcome is one thing. In fact, I read a book about a year ago, One Thing. Absolutely, it was just absolutely wonderful. Keller Williams, the real estate guy. He wrote a book called The One Thing. I highly recommend it. Why do you want it? Purpose. That's what's going to keep you from going to Dunkin' Donuts every day. That's going to keep you on track. It's your purpose. Most people who set New Year's Eve resolutions, they don't follow through. Why don't they follow through? Because they don't have a strong emotional purpose behind it. The first turns into the third, and maybe I'll go to the gym today, or maybe I'll do this. But, you know, most people, if they don't have a strong, clear outcome or goal, and they don't have a strong purpose behind it, they're history. Most people are, by the way. I don't mean to be a downer, but most people who set New Year's Eve resolutions, they don't follow through. I did read the other day that people in their 20s and 30s tend to do better at this. People 50s, 60s, and 70s, they don't even bother, or if they do set them, they don't even think they're going to do it. Their track record, here's the deal, their track record shows that they haven't done it in the past and they're not going to do it in the future. So the older you are, it's going to be difficult unless you're clear and you have a track record. And in my mind, the track record is the journal, because you can look at where you've been and you can also see where you're going. I think it's magic. All right, so what's the S? And I was thinking to myself, what would the S be? S be. The S is simple. All it is several ways. Several ways. Now, what do I mean by this? If I put in the GPS Mohegan Sun here in Connecticut, or Foxwood Casino here in Connecticut, and there's construction, right? There's a barrier. I can't go. My GPS looks at that and says, why don't you go this way? There's a detour. We're going to go this way instead. I know we were going to go that way, but we're not going to go that way. We're going to go this way. Why? Because the outcome is really clear. The outcome is really, really, really clear. And it doesn't matter how you get there. Like, you could go this way. Somebody said to me, well, how am I going to get to Dublin? I said, what do you mean, how are you going to get to Dublin? They said, well, we have to book our own flights. I said, yeah, you have to book your own flight. I got people coming from Cleveland. I got people coming from Florida. I got people coming from the Midwest. What do you mean, how are you going to get there? There's many ways. See, when it comes to the S, several ways, right? Doesn't matter. You could fly to Scotland and hang out with the Loch Ness Monster, and then later, a couple days later, maybe the weekend, you could fly to Dublin. I don't know. Or you could, I don't know. There's so many ways. There's several ways. So here's my story. The other day, I went to see Champions of Magic. It was Friday night, and I got the third row in, and it was absolutely wonderful. I paid like $100 and some odd for the ticket. It was a great show. It was a wonderful show. If you ever have a chance to see the Champions of Magic, they're mostly from the UK, I highly recommend you see the show. And I say it because the average person's never seen a live magic show in their life. This would be the show to see. You'd be very impressed. It was a wonderful show. So the next day was Saturday, which was yesterday, and I got up in the morning and I found out that there was a ticket in the back row, really inexpensive, and I thought, I'm going to grab this. I think there was only like 14 tickets left. Now, I had seen the show the night before up front and close and personal. I wanted to see the show again for educational purposes, because the first time I went for entertainment purposes. The second time I brought a little notebook and was taking some notes and was seeing things that I didn't see the first time around, because my topic is focus and my topic is misdirection. And there were a few things that happened in the show the first night that I was misdirected. And I thought, well, I know something happened, but I don't remember where it happened because I was misdirected. I want to look at it with new eyes. I want clarity. So I paid an extra $50. I sat in the back and I was able to take notes, and it was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But here's what I want to share with you. It was not easy getting there the second night, which was last night. So I wake up in the morning, I buy the ticket. I've never put a ticket on my phone before, but I had to download the app, all brand new, never did it before. If you're under 20 years old, you're thinking, what's the big deal? No big deal. But I pull out my phone, and I start playing with it, download the app, get the ticket there, make sure I can have the barcode, because everything is going paperless these days. And then there's a few things that I had to jump through to get to the show. And I don't want to bore you with the details, because the details don't matter. They were somewhat frustrating. But all I did was I visualized being at the show. When things got really difficult, and they did, there were a couple challenges with traffic, and I don't need to go into the story. I really don't. But I can tell you that the feelings I were having weren't really positive. They weren't really positive. However, I had a clear outcome. I visualized myself sitting in that seat, listening, seeing, and experiencing the show a second time. And of course, I was playing it in my mind because I had seen it the night before. That got me to the place of actually physically getting to the show that night, which was last night. Why do I mention this? Because a lot of times people think, how am I going to get there? How am I going to do it? They want to know the mechanism. They want to know how it's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, the real magic is your clarity and your focus. Not only of getting focused, but staying focused. And one of the easiest ways to stay focused is to see it in your mind. See the outcome in your mind. I mean, this is not new. This is not new at all. Now, one of the things that came up in the show was really inspirational to me. It was this guy who does escapology, you know, straitjackets, handcuffs, water torture, cells, and all this other stuff. And one of the things that he said in the show was that when he was 6 years old, he had this, you know, near-death experience with water where he almost drowned with his uncle. And it really put a lot of fear into him. And so he was going to do this thing where he had his ankles shackled and he was going to be placed in, like, think of a phone booth. I don't know if you remember what a phone booth looked like. But it's this phone booth filled with water, upside down. You know, just Google Harry Houdini water torture, you know what I'm talking about. So he talked about the fact that when he was underwater, the only thing that was important to him was getting to the surface. And they showed this video of an underwater experience, dark water at the bottom, and then as you look to the top, there was the light, the sun at the top of the water. And he said the only focus for him was to break the surface of the water. And I'm telling you, I got it the first time. I didn't need to see it a second time. I went back to see it a second time to record it in my head, in my heart, because I thought to myself, I used to be a lifeguard. I love to swim. And, you know, when I was a kid, I would do the whole Harry Houdini thing. And I knew without a shadow of doubt when I would be in Candlewood Lake and they would handcuff me and throw me off into the water and I would do these things for publicity stunts when I was 17, or just being underneath the water, there was no fear. There was 100% certainty that I was going to make it to the top and get some air. Now, I don't know if you like water, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but all I could tell you is when I watched this guy talk about this and then to perform the water torture escape, I thought, what a metaphor. If you're underwater, now I'm talking about in your life, I'm not talking about in your mortgage or anything like that or credit card debt, I'm talking about physically being underwater. And I'm not talking about a dream, I'm talking about you're in the water. Maybe it's Lake Erie, right, or a pool, a swimming pool. And maybe you're 5 feet under or 10 feet under. Your goal is only one thing. Unless, of course, you got oxygen, right? Your goal is one thing, and that's to break the surface. That's all it is. And clarity and sense of certainty, forget about it. I mean, what are the consequences if you don't break the surface? Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. So G, goal. I don't got 5 goals here, folks. I got one goal. I'm going to break the surface. I'm going to get up. I'm going to see the light of day. I'm going to take that breath. I thought, what a great metaphor for GPS. Unbelievable. And the P, purpose, I want to live. I love my life. I want to live. You know, what's that movie, A Wonderful Life? Clarence, I want to live again. All right, so then what's the last one? S. There's probably many ways to get to the surface. Doggy paddle. Maybe you push yourself off the bottom of the pool. I don't know. I have no idea. But all I know is you better find a way. And then I thought to myself, if this is so easy, why don't people do it? And the only thing that came to my mind is fear. They'd rather stay comfortable. Let's face it. If you've done it 100 million times, you don't need a GPS. You can just do the same thing every day, day after day, day after day, day after day, day after day. Kind of reminds me of that movie Groundhog Day. It's not good. So, what are the ways to break the spell? Get yourself a journal. Get yourself a journal. So these are the questions I'm going to ask you next week. And we're going to talk about this for a while because, I think hearing this just once is not enough. Repetition is the mother of all skills. So number one, What did you love about 2022? Think about this. It's kind of homework. We're going to pick this up next week. And in addition to that, what did you accomplish? What did you accomplish in 2022? Again, if you don't have a record of anything, you have to kind of just reflect, get quiet and maybe think about the last 12 months, which the older I get, I like to rely on paper and I like to rely on the pen. Here's another one. What are some of the things that you did in 2022 that you want to repeat in 2023? This is all under the concept of clarity. Here's another one. What did you learn in 2022 as far as experiences that have been valuable lessons? Valuable lessons. Like, I'm not going to put my hand on that stove again. Whatever. See, this is the beauty of having a journal, of just writing down a few things, moments. Just, you don't have to write for days or hours. You just have to write a few things. Here's another one. This kind of is a shift. What did you hate about last year? Yeah, what did you hate about 2022? Were there certain things, when I think about it, I can't think of much. I really can't. In the last year, things that maybe you hated, you didn't like, what are some of the top things that you definitely don't want to do again? You're like, I'm done, not going to do that. What decisions did you make in 2022 that were empowering for you? What decisions might you make in this next year, which are connected to what happened last year? So clarity is really the one thing we're talking about here, and I can't think of a better way to get clear than to get your thoughts out on paper. Whether you're journaling now or you're journaling, last year, or you're going to journal in the future, writing things down and having a track record it's so powerful. So hopefully I've convinced you of that, and I've also convinced you that you can't have 100 outcomes in so many different areas. You can't do it. It's kind of impossible. In our day today, people want to multitask. They want to do this and they want to do that, and people want to do everything. Well, I don't know about you, but I can't do everything. First of all, I don't have the time to do everything. It's not possible for me to do everything. I just turned 60 this year, and I'm looking at my office, and I'm looking at my house, and I'm looking at all the books that I have, thousands of books. And I'm thinking to myself, when am I going to get through all of these books? And how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have to pick the top 1,000 books. I don't know. I guess the book on gardening is going out the window. I just can't do everything. Or the book on mechanics, on how to fix your car. It doesn't even interest me. I don't know even why I have that book. But you know what I'm saying? You can't do everything. So having a clear, focused outcome, like a GPS, think about a GPS. If you're being a GPS, that's all you have to be. Just focus on one outcome today, in the area of your finances, in the area of your health, in the area of your relationships, in the area of your emotions, in the area of your career or your calling. It's really that simple. And know why you want it. What's the purpose? And also realize you've got several ways to make it happen. So to be continued, as my friend Amazing Kreskin talks about, to be continued. We're going to talk about this again next week. I got some more information. But if you're listening to me and you buy into what I'm saying, and I hope you do, getting focused is really easy. Most people get focused. You don't want to be like most people. You want to get and stay focused. Because staying focused, that's where the real magic is. All right, we'll get you next week. Thanks, everybody.
You've been listening to the Greg Dwyer Radio Show, brought to you by motivational speaker Greg Dwyer on buildingpartnersradio.com. Check out Greg at gregdwyer.com. Be sure to download his ebook at gregdwyerebook.com to stay focused on what matters most to you. That's www.gregdwyerebook.com. We want to thank you for listening. Now go make a difference in your world.